Good morning. We are very fortunate today to have Brad Howard lead us to think about whether we are at a pivot point or end point. Brad is a past district governor of District 5170 in California's Silicon Valley and a past Rotary International director in 2015-17. He's currently serving as an aide to Jennifer Jones, the 2022-2023 Rotary International president. He served on a number of important international committees, including just completing a 3-year term as chairman of Rotary's Communication Committee. He served as a member of the 2020 Rotary Convention Committee, which planned 2 conventions, imagine. One that was in person in Hamburg and one that was in Hawaii that was virtual. Brad sought after as a speaker for his work on membership and the eradication of polio. The eradication of polio has been a significant part of Brad's experience. He served 10 years as the Zone 26 End Polio Now coordinator and has led 34 Rotarian groups comprised of over 1,600 people to participate in polio national immunization days in sub-Saharan, West Africa, and India. He's dedicated much of his time to the University of California at Berkeley as a board member of the Haas School of Business, chairs their fund development, and he's a trustee on the Berkeley Foundation. Brad's a recipient of the Rotary Service Above Self Award, the Rotary Foundation's Distinguished Service Award, and the International Service Award for a Polio-Free World, a recognition provided to no more than 10 people each year. Brad is a compassionate, caring person committed to Rotary service and to ending polio. Please welcome Brad Howard.
Thank you very much, Pat. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time zone. It's early in the morning here. So thank you, governors-elect, governors, past governors, but most importantly, all presidents-elect and all Rotarians. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. All protocols observed. I want to acknowledge specifically the governors-elect, Keith, Pat. First, thank you for the outfit. This is one of the few times I've been given something to wear to show up to one of these events, so I appreciate that. And I noticed the back, the Doors tour. I just want to know which one of you is John Densmore, which one of you is Ray Manzarek, Robbie Krieger, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, which one of you is Jim Morrison? But let me know offline or in the chat because I'd appreciate finding that out. Anyway, it's great to be here. Thank you very, very much. To all of you who are presidents-elect, congratulations on stepping up to being the leader of your club. Now, I know that it's frequent that people say that you must have been selected at the meeting that you missed, but I don't believe that, nor do I condone that as a way to welcome you to your leadership. You were chosen. Now, maybe not willingly, but you were chosen. But make no mistake, your club has given you the gift of followership. You are embarking on a journey that will give you skills, that will give you insights and strengths that you probably don't recognize that you have right now. This is a great year of personal growth based on what I have seen, what happened to me, and what I have seen countless times for people that have volunteered to lead leaders, as you have. You'll be leading your club during an extraordinary time for Rotary and for your club, in part because of the pandemic and how it's challenged our members to connect with each other and the community, and in part because the challenges all Rotary clubs are facing with keeping their members and attracting new members. I mean, the clubs in this PETS group, the All Ohio PETS group, know it. Over the past 10 years, collectively, you've lost more than 14% of your membership. That totals over 1,700 Rotarians, which is equal to average size Rotary club of 48 Rotary clubs. Now, you're not alone. This is happening throughout North America, in the United Kingdom and Great Britain and Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, parts of Europe. This is a trend that we've been observing over time. But beyond just the fact that we're challenged at keeping our members and attracting new members, it's also an extraordinarily unusual time because the social and societal landscape has changed. That environment in which we exist has changed dramatically over the past 10 to 15 years, if not dramatically over the past year. You don't need to pay dues to volunteer. You can just show up. Our clubs used to always have members from corporations, for companies who would pay their dues, pay their Paul Harris support, pay to have them come and have lunch, because that way that company felt that by having a representative there, they could exhibit their corporate social responsibility. We do good things in the community because Sue or Tom are in the Rotary Club of XYZ. Well, most of these corporations realize they don't need Rotary. In fact, what they realized is they could own that positioning themselves. They could start to stand for giving back to the community, and think about how many for-profit companies you hear advertised that talk about buy our product or buy our service because we give back to the community, we do special things, and here's all the things we do. These companies, these for-profit companies with advertising budgets now can compete with Rotary clubs for a position in service to a community. See, it's even different that the way we gather and how we create friendships and how we create community within our club. It used to be, well, let's put it this way. You probably have heard of the 4 objects of Rotary. The first object of Rotary says the development of an acquaintance as an opportunity for service. Said differently, by making friends, you can come together to make a difference in your community, however you define that. And to create this relationship, to facilitate this acquaintance, we used to use meals, right? We get together, break bread, get to know each other, and create these friendships. Yeah, meals are not the only way we connect now. There's other ways to interact and connect. The internet, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Zoom. I mean, think of the list of ways that people connect to each other. Now, this may not be the way you and I want to do this, but this is a way much of society connects now. We used to be able to take 2 hours for lunch. Now lunches require that most of us show up with a phone. Why? Because we have to be connected to our business. We can't just drop out of things for 2 hours anymore. I know that when I used to go and speak to a Rotary club and people were looking in their laps, you knew they were asleep. Now you know they're on their phones. You see, even that, excuse me, good morning. Meals are a challenge. Many venues where we meet charge so much for so little. Part of it is because they're now charging for the venue, right? But this challenges our members in that value proposition that they have. This is part of that thinking of, well, you know, I go to that restaurant, I'm paying 2 times what I normally do when I go there, or I can go down the street and get 2 times better meal for half the price. And now all of a sudden that's in the mix of their thinking about, do I really want to go to Rotary today? Further to that, within many clubs, we don't have enough time to be able to have the fellowship that we seek, right? You probably know this. You arrive at the club just a few minutes before because you were busy at the office. You get there, you sit down, the bell rings, you stand up, you pledge allegiance to the flag. Someone says a thought for the day. You sit down, the president gives some thoughts. They talk about what's coming up in the club. They maybe have some committee reports. Then all of a sudden the speaker is being introduced. The speaker speaks. There's questions and answers, and the bell rings and you get up and leave. Many clubs are challenged to find enough time to sit together, to talk to each other, to ask how the families are, how your business is. What are you doing about this idea that you were talking about last week? And so our organization really is seeking, how do we become relevant in today's environment? How does a traditional organization or club, perhaps like yours, evolve into an organization that's both appealing to the leaders of the club and those who are going to lead your club? Those that built your club and those you know will continue to build it into the next decade. How do we honor our traditions and yet be nimble, flexible, and relevant to the lives of our members? And if all of this that I've just talked to you about isn't enough, all of a sudden we're in the midst of COVID, where we're locked into little boxes on a computer screen, challenged to connect with each other. Now, for many club, district, and Rotary leaders, we've wondered, is this pandemic a pivot point for our organization and our clubs, or perhaps is it the end point to many of the clubs we've known and loved? Well, I can tell you what I've seen, but I honestly believe only your club can answer that question. Only you, as the president-elect, have the answer to that question. What are you going to do that will make this a pivot point and not an end point? Well, while I would never wish for a pandemic, this crisis may do more to help our clubs than is apparent. To many, we believe that this actually is a pivot point for Rotary and our organization because we have seen it occur many, many times, whether it be taking a face-to-face convention and pivoting it to become a virtual convention, or to be able to realize what the secrets are within our club that we could use to connect people in this space in a stronger way than we ever used to be able to. See, this episode in our lives is forcing our clubs to dig deep to figure out, how do we survive today? And how do we plan for the future? How do we plan our way out of it? Now, you are here at PETS to try and absorb as much as possible, to lead, to focus on membership, think about the foundation, focus on youth protection. What are the programs going to look like, whether they're in a box or person to person? And what's going to happen when, in fact, we have a hybrid situation where some people want to get together, but many can't or don't want to? How am I going to craft that experience? How do I raise funds? What will our community service look like? Our club service, our youth service, our international service? Am I going to climb on an airplane in November to go to District 4170 to experience what you just saw with Heart to Heart? And so we have many clubs that are trying to figure this out. They're going to craft a strategic plan, or they're doing visioning exercises. What will we look like, to try to solve the dilemma about how not to die, but to how to flourish? I know it's complicated. It seems complicated. It seems hard to get your head around. And perhaps for many people, I've heard say, this is what I do to relax. I don't want to have to come here and craft a multi-page document for a strategic plan with layers of thinking. I just want to volunteer to make my community better. Well, I'm going to suggest to you that while what you've been exposed to in this PETS is extraordinarily important to help you be prepared for what you are about to engage in, there's something that's even more important than all of this, and yet remarkably simpler than all of this. So if I can offer you any wisdom to simplify everything that you've learned and need to know, comes down to a simple 7-word sentence. Create a club your members will love. That's it. Create a club your members will love. If you do that, from what I have seen, your club will flourish. This will be your pivot point. This will be the opportunity where you have a chance to focus in a laser manner on the needs of your members above everything else, above the foundation, above club service, community service, international service. One thing: create a bond between your club and your members that is based on the needs of your members and not on the needs of your community. Many times we talk about in Rotary engaging our members. And while that is better than not, I don't think it's the highest form of connection. There's a lot of times where people get engaged that they don't get married. But in fact, what we want is to get married. We want an emotional connection with our members that is strong beyond logic at times, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, and perhaps till death do us part. So as we reemerge from under this COVID rock, how do we do this? How do you go about doing this? Well, first, I think you have to understand, what is Rotary? What is your club? Who are your customers? Who is your competition? And what are we really offering our members? So let me dig into a couple of these things. What is Rotary? Many people will say we're the greatest service organization on earth. I don't agree. I absolutely do not agree. Rotary is not a service organization. Rotary is a membership organization that does service. I came to this conclusion for many reasons, but one of them that was most emphatic to me was a quote that I read from a gentleman by the name of Sir Richard Branson. Perhaps you recognize him as president of the Virgin Group of Companies. And he said, clients do not come first, employees come first. Because if you take care of the employees, they will take care of the clients. If you take care of your Rotarians, they will take care of your communities. But we have to start with focusing on who we are. If we're a service organization, we're in the midst of hundreds of thousands of other non-governmental, nonprofit organizations doing the same thing. In fact, I just got done telling you that there are many for-profit entities doing the same thing. When we are in that mix, we stand in the middle of a pack of others. But when we recognize that we are a membership organization that does service, we stand alone as one of the few that empower our members to be able to watch something that you just got done watching about Heart to Heart and recognize that each and every one of you have the opportunity to do exactly that. So if you'll allow me to say that our members are the most important, then you need to start thinking, so who's our customers? Well, they would be our members. They would be the people that we have to talk to, because every year, if not every week, they make a purchase decision. And so you need to focus on their needs. And I can tell you that those clubs that focus on their members first, foremost, and always are the ones that I am seeing grow from this experience. These are the ones that have grown over time. I have a Rotary Club in the midst of my district, the Rotary Club of Cupertino, that has been growing since my father was a governor in 1984-85. There were 60 members in that club. Today, there are over 250 members in that club, and they have grown consistently year after year. When I was governor, I took one of the people from that club that was one of the leaders of that club to create this experience, and I put him on our membership committee, and I said, tell us the secrets of how you do these membership drives. How do you get members? How do you do this? And he said, we have never done a membership drive ever, nor will we. The only thing we focus on is making our club better each year so that people want to join us. And once they do, they don't want to leave. And I've watched this club grow, and I've watched other clubs take on that mantle. And they too have experienced consistent growth. Focus on the needs of your members, because if you do, they'll take care of your communities. Listen to your members like the life of your club depends on it, because it does. Objectively listen to them. Many times I've talked to club president-elects, and they've said, oh, well, I'm going to sit down with every single one of my members and find out what's on their mind, what they want. And that's good. That's better than doing nothing. But it's not the best way. Why? Because the third highest reason why people leave Rotary is because they don't like the leadership of the club. And it would be hard for me to imagine, as you sat down with one of those members that says, yeah, I'm leaving because of you. No, you need to find an objective method that listens to them hard and takes that information and puts it in front of the board to think about what you're going to do. And then once the board figures out what it wants to do to make the club stronger for their members, is to share it with their members, to make sure that that's what they want and to listen to them. So if you'll allow me to say that our members are our customers, the next question is, who's our competition? Lions, Kiwanis? Not really. Our competition is life, it's work, it's family, it's church, it's friends, it's sleep. And until we can be competitive with life, we are going to consistently lose. But this is where we need to recognize our strength, your club's strength. Our strength is in our relationships. Yeah, part of it's social importance. I was sitting at the table with the mayor just this past week. But more than that, it's sitting with the people that make a difference in your community. And while we're isolated in some ways through these boxes on Zoom, from my experience and observation, we're now a little bit more connected because we're listening to each other. We're looking at how we gather differently. And part of that is we have to listen to each other in these small boxes. We need to recognize that within our clubs, we are connected to people of action, to people of purpose, to people of influence, who we need now more than ever. And in this effort, we need to recognize that if we're a membership organization, our clubs are not necessarily available to everyone. I've heard many times presidents-elect say, well, we're going to be focused on quality, not quantity. And I don't disagree with that, but I'd really like to hear what they think is quality. Quality is a very subjective concept. Where I think it's more important is they need to look for members of influence. Influence in their sphere, whether that be in business, in their community, in their home, in their church, wherever. And once you focus on influence, you now have equated the 75-year-old with the 25-year-old, with the person who does not have an ongoing job, but is highly influential within the community. And those people of influence can help us to get things done, can help us to make ourselves better because we realize what their influence is, that we might be able to take some of those qualities into ourselves. This isn't me suggesting that Rotary should be elite. It is me suggesting to you that your club should be purposeful in your membership and understand that you're looking for the right kinds of people that are going to help you make a difference in the community and make a difference to your members. Create a club that people want to be a part of, that they aspire to associate with, and recognize what you have to offer. For the people who are retired, who have discretionary time and funds to help others, who continue to want to grow even though they no longer are plugged into their work, and to those that are growing that realize that the qualities of that your club can help them become better people. I mean, Rotary was put together by people who were in their developing their careers. The oldest of the first four founding members was 39 years old. If you go back to Evanston and look at the faces in the boardrooms, all the pictures that we have, the first 24 pictures, those are people in their 30s and 40s who created and crafted our organization. Why? Because they wanted to become a better person, to understand how to be better in business and in life, and to learn from others. You see, from my observation, what Rotary does better than anything else is we make our members better people with strong businesses, supported by better families, living in better communities. Think about the next time you have a chance to read the objects of Rotary, the founding principles of our organization. All of them speak about what Rotary does to the person so that the person can do something. All of them are focused on you and what Rotary can do for you so that you can do for others. We need to recognize that some of the best experiences we offer our members are outside the bells of our meetings, outside the start and stop bell, the thing that takes us into the community, that takes us on an airplane, that puts us overseas. We connect the leaders in our community to create lasting friendships. And because of this, we empower our members to be better than they could be on their own. But beyond that, we offer something you cannot buy in any store, you cannot get in any other organization. We enable our members to dream they can do the impossible, to dream that they could eradicate a disease, or to dream they could walk into a community and change lives. We have a special benefit of membership that few talk about in this way, but I believe deeply based on my experience working with it. The special benefit of membership, it's called the Rotary Foundation. It's not because it's a bank account, it's because it enables our members to dream they can do the impossible. Those 1,600 people I've taken overseas to participate in National Immunization Days have dreamt that they can eradicate a disease. But beyond that, when they get into these communities and they see the needs in the communities, they realize they can do something about it because of the foundation. each of these projects you've heard about started with one person who said, I wonder if, and if they can do it, you can do it, I can do it. Why? Because the foundation sits at your doorstep, and you as the president-elect have the keys to that door to be able to lead your club to walk through it. Help members to understand that when our businesses are challenged, we should need more of Rotary, not less. And now is a perfect example of that. When our communities are challenged, we need to be people of action. We need to find a way to get these tough jobs done. It's because of who Rotarians are that allows us to achieve results others cannot. Our clubs are the gateways for our members to live better lives with stronger businesses, families, and communities. And it allows us to say with truth, humility, and authenticity, together we see a world where people unite to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and most importantly, in ourselves. See, to be an effective leader, it's fairly simple. Create a club your members will love. Help them love your club so much that they'll not want to leave, and they will actively want to share that experience with their best friends, with their families. Make your club attractive. Those clubs who truly realize the purpose of their clubs are to make their members better people and create strong friendships with people of action are the clubs I have seen flourish.
What happens now?
If there's ever a time where Rotary is essential in the lives of our members, it's now. And if ever there was a group of people that have been challenged to address that, it's you. And so to that, the leader of your club, just remember those simple words, and it'll be your guiding force in this pivot point. Thank you for letting me join you, and thank you for letting me share my thoughts with you. I hope they will be useful in your path forward. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Brad. This has been very, very inspiring. And you can see all year I have kept our vision and our core values in front of me while talking to clubs. But this, I've been reading in the chat room, everybody is talking about how inspiring this speech is, and we thank you for it. Many would like to have copies of it so they can hear it over and over and play it for their clubs. I know we have maybe a minute or two for a question, and one question that occurs to me is, you're working closely as the aide to Jennifer Jones, whom we all love. You know, we think I bet every district, we think we own her and in our district because she was our director, you know, while we were in the other zone. But how do you see things proceeding with Rotary now in their meetings and in their conferences, and as we proceed? And also, how is polio doing? I'll add another question.
Well, polio actually, remarkably and almost surprisingly, is doing very well. The eradication effort, well, we're meeting challenges, and I trust that all of you heard that as it started back up, the polio work started back up in Pakistan, 4 volunteers were killed. It's a challenge. It's an unbelievable thought to have that people are trying to help others be healthy are being killed, but is the reality we're facing. But in terms of a case count, we're on track to be well below 100 for the course of the year. Right now, the last time I looked, there were only a couple of cases that had taken place and weeks on end of zeros. So while we've learned that you never can count anything in this effort to eradicate polio, we are very encouraged by the numbers that we've seen so far. To your point and to your question about what does it look like, Rotary's come to realize that we have a new muscle, and this muscle is using this virtual space in a different way than we've used it before. And the best example I can give you is the convention that was planned for Honolulu that pivoted and turned into the virtual convention. Typical attendance at a convention, registration at a convention is between 17,000 and 25,000. The highest we've ever seen was 45,000 in Osaka, Japan. Registering for the virtual convention, we had over 61,000 registrants. But beyond that, there are breakouts. If you've ever gone to a convention, you know, there's a lot of breakout rooms you can go and attend. We held 15 official breakouts. The total attendance, people actually attending the event, were over 31,000 people.
Wow.
So just attending the breakouts surpassed most of the average conventions. So we realized that in the future, we're going to have conventions, but we're also going to broadcast those conventions. The old school thought was that'll be cannibalization. We're going to take people who would otherwise go to the convention because they can just watch it on their screens, where we come to realize, no, those people are still going to go to that convention for many reasons. But now we can reach deep into our clubs, and those people who never thought they'd go to a convention can see something they never thought was in existence. So I believe that what we are seeing now is a new tool that we will continue to use, and I suspect clubs are going to do the same. We've changed the way that we gather, we meet. Our board of directors now meets on a far more frequent basis. Our committees meet. We're meeting with people all over the world frequently now in a way that we never thought we could, partly in thanks to Zoom and partly because we were forced to learn.
I thank you. I agree with you. You know, we're so fortunate to all share the same values all these years, and we continue to care about others and connect. So thank you, Brad Howard. Thank you for being here today. We hope we see you again soon. And good luck. I'll be eager to hear your experience sometime as an aide to Jennifer Jones and just exactly what you do.
Well, if you ever need to raise money, I'll be happy to tell you all the dirty secrets about Jennifer, and you can bring her in, and then you can raise a lot of money for the foundation.
Oh, thank you.